approaching Glen Oaks. It's going to be southbound Glen Oaks. San Fernando PD in pursuit. San Fernando PD in pursuit. 10-4. News Chopper 4 live over this pursuit here in the Sylmar area. This is going to be San Fernando PD in pursuit. It's unclear what this driver is wanted for, but let's zoom into the vehicle here so we can take a good look at exactly what type of vehicle it is. It does look like a pickup truck with some sort of contents in the back of the truck. We understand, of course, that there is at least one person in the vehicle, that being the male driver, but we also are hearing that there is in fact a dog, a German Shepherd, inside of the car as well. San Fernando PD, again, are the agency in pursuit. They have a non-pit maneuver policy. They will not be able to perform a pit maneuver. However, they are requesting the assistance of the LAPD's closest divisions, which are going to be the Foothill Division of the LAPD, as well as the Mission Division of the LAPD. If one of those units is able to get behind the vehicle, then in that case, the LAPD can perform a pit maneuver. But in this case, San Fernando PD will not be performing a pit maneuver. We have also heard them request spike strips. So that's definitely an opportunity here because they do believe that this driver is circling roughly in the same area. So they believe that they can get ahead of him and throw a set of stop strips or spike strips in front of the vehicle to try to get him to stop. Again, now he's southbound on Dronefield. It's unclear what this driver is wanted for, but this is a pursuit that started about 10 minutes ago. First picked it up when it was in San Fernando. Of course, San Fernando is a small city that's in the county of LA, but not quite the city of LA. It's adjacent to the cities of Sylmar and Pacoima, or rather the areas of Sylmar and Pacoima, which are part of the city of Los Angeles. San Fernando PD began this pursuit. We understand that the driver may have a weapon, and he has also been reaching under the vehicle. So police are definitely going to try to take as much caution as possible when it comes to approaching this driver when this does in fact come to an end. Again, there is believed to be a dog inside of the car with the driver, and the police department have already requested animal control to respond to the scene when the pursuit does in fact come to an end. Now he's southbound on Dronefield, or rather southbound Foothill from Dronefield. Foothill is going to run adjacent to the 210 freeway, just south of the 210 freeway, again in the Sylmar area. If he continues headed in this direction, he will enter the area of Pacoima. Again, it's unclear what this driver is wanted for, but again, this is a pursuit that started approximately at 10:15. News Chopper 4, first helicopter overhead, now making that turn away from Foothill onto Polk. I'm going to use my camera here to try to zoom in here the best I can to see if there's anybody else in the vehicle in addition to that suspect and his dog, but currently can't see much other than that driver. We understand that at a time there was a point when he made some offensive hand gestures towards the officers that were pursuing him, and that was right before we got over the pursuit just a few minutes ago. Again, this is going to be in the Sylmar area on Polk, approaching Borden. He's been running a lot of red lights at high speeds. Fortunately, these areas here in the Sylmar area not too busy at this time of night, but as you can see, there are cars on the road. Again, San Fernando PD, the agency in pursuit, has a non-pursuit policy, or rather a non-pit maneuver policy, so we will not be seeing that. There's an opportunity for spike strips right there. Nope, that was not an officer. It was actually a civilian who was walking across the street when this vehicle was approaching that intersection. So that was a very dangerous situation right there. I thought that maybe that was a police officer trying to get ahead of this pursuit and putting out a set of spike strips, as we have heard over our scanners that is a possibility that the San Fernando Police Department is considering to try to bring this pursuit to an end. We've never heard this pursuit get on the highway, has only been on surface streets, currently on Astoria, south of Glen Oaks. Again, if he continues in this direction, this will put him in the Pacoima area. He was just in Sylmar. This started in San Fernando. These are all areas that are very close to each other between the 5 and the 210 freeways, running through that intersection right there. He did have the green light there, fortunately, but there have been times when he has run the red light and almost hit a pedestrian at one point. Again, reaching under his car, which is something that the police department is definitely worried about, because we understand that he may possibly be armed. So every time he reaches under his seat there, it is something that worries the police department here. Turning onto Hubbard now from Glen Oaks, continuing basically going around in a big circle. He was in San Fernando when this first started, then he was in Sylmar. Now he's going to be right on the border of both Pacoima and Sylmar. So basically just making a really big loop in the same area. Throwing gang signs out the window from when I'm copying over the police scanner right here, and we have heard that he's also making obscene gestures with his hands out the window as well. So he's definitely taunting the police, trying to do whatever he can to get away, but we have a number of units behind him from the San Fernando Police Department. And we also have the police helicopter from the LAPD overhead who is calling the pursuit. I count at least 5 units from the San Fernando Police Department directly behind this pickup truck driver. Coming up to that intersection there, he did slow up a touch. I think it was because he had that red light. So he just tried to clear that intersection there before he proceeded. If he continues in this direction, this will get him over to the 5 freeway. Again, he's on Hubbard, probably running through another red light here. Nope, he just got the green light there. Through San Fernando, got some cross traffic ahead, so I'm going to widen out the shot to see what happens here. Continuing through the intersection there. Again, Hubbard just west of San Fernando. If he continues in this direction again, it will get him to the 5 freeway. We have not seen him on the highway since we joined this pursuit at around 10:15. He's only been sticking to surface streets in the San Fernando, Sylmar, and Pacoima area. Just crossed through Amboy, approaching Aztec, again still on Hubbard. Hubbard is a street that will connect him to the 5 freeway if he decides to continue on it. Eventually though, Hubbard does come to an end just before the 5 at Laurel Canyon. So that's when he's going to have to make a choice whether to get onto Laurel Canyon or perhaps make a U-turn rather on Hubbard. I hear right now that he's approaching Laurel Canyon, so this is going to be where he's going to have to make that pivotal choice whether he's going to go north or south on Laurel Canyon. And he's going to go south, southbound Laurel Canyon from Hubbard. Again, this is still going to put him in the Sylmar area. If he continues in this direction, it will get him into Pacoima. You can see the 5 freeway there at the top of your screen. That's Laurel Canyon, which is just on the bottom side of the screen there. That's the street that has this pursuit on it right now. He's going to perhaps set up here to make a turn, towards the right here. If he does, he may be able to enter the 5 freeway from here. That was Rinaldi that he just got on. He's going under the 5 freeway, so there is no on-ramp here for the 5 to the police units directly behind him. Through Oxnard now. Slowing down a touch here, but he may just be coming up to an intersection. He tends to do that before he gets to an intersection where he has the red. He just passed through Oxnard, still on Sepulveda. Every time he comes up to an intersection where he doesn't have the green light, he doesn't just blow right through it. He does try to clear the intersection a bit before making his way through. So far that has worked in his favor. He hasn't crashed. Also, fortunately, has not hit any pedestrians. We have, though, seen a number of close calls. Not too many close calls when it comes to vehicles. We haven't really seen him get into any near collisions. Approaching Burbank here, so the area that we're coming to now is going to be the area of the 405 and the 101 freeway. But again, this suspect is on surface streets. He's on Sepulveda, which is the street that's just to the east of the 405 freeway, and he's currently just north of the 101. But of course, once he gets closer to the 405 101, it'll be interesting to see if he tries to join one of these freeways. But for now, he's been sticking to Sepulveda for the most part here. He seems to like sticking to that number 1 lane for the most part, or rather the middle lane, and now the slow lane. We haven't seen him driving at erratic speeds. We have seen him on the wrong side of the road at times. But let's see, this unit's getting awfully close. Got right up next to him. We know that San Fernando PD, at least by what they're communicating on the scanner, they are not pit approved. So we're not expecting to see a pit maneuver, but of course if we have LAPD units that perhaps get behind this vehicle, then that could happen. Again, southbound Sepulveda through Magnolia. Let me widen out the shot here so we can continue to monitor this guy and then that lead unit directly behind him. Again, by last count, I counted at least 5 units directly behind this guy, as well as the police helicopter. Let me widen out the shot though, because I know we're going to be getting close here to that 101 freeway. So I'd like to see when he does get close to that, if he does in fact decide to join the freeway. There he goes right under the freeway right now, so he's going to lose his chance to get on there. Continuing southbound under the freeway, and that's the way the units directly behind him would like to keep it. Again, I heard them say over the scanner that they would like to keep him off of the freeway, and so far they've been successful at that. He has stayed on surface streets for the entire duration of this pursuit, which has now been 30 minutes. Still Sepulveda, approaching Ventura. He could stay on this street, stay on Sepulveda, and take that all the way into the base and past LAX. So, of course, we don't know what this guy is thinking or what area he's from. And a lot of the times with these pursuits, we typically see that the suspects return to an area that's familiar to him. Initially, it seemed like that area was going to be the San Fernando Valley, going to be San Fernando, Silmar, that particular area right there, because he was circling that area for a while. Oh, here we go. Getting on the freeway, exactly what the cops didn't want. Now on the 405 north. Northbound 405 freeway. So now that he's on the northbound 405, he actually has the opportunity to get back to the area that this pursuit started at. CHP is being notified right now that this pursuit is now on their freeway. Again, now on the 405 north, leaving the 101. Area when it rejoins the 5, which is where this pursuit began. So there is the possibility that this driver simply took Sepulveda down as far as he could, and then when he realized he was getting too far from home, jumped on the 405 north and is now trying to make his way back to where this pursuit began in the city of San Fernando. 70 miles an hour passing Burbank Boulevard. Northbound 405. But we will do our best here. I'm going to use a couple of my doublers here, so bear with me. You can see him there. There he is, a German Shepherd dog sitting in the passenger seat, not knowing, of course, what is going on, what his owner is putting him through here as this pursuit continues here on the northbound 405. in the San Fernando Valley. Again, this driver is wanted for evading and reckless driving. I'm going to pull. You can see him there. It's a little blurry, but you can see the dog sitting there in the passenger seat, sitting with his master, of course, not knowing what is going on here. I'm going to go ahead and move the shot back out. Okay. I'm going to take another moment here, guys, to look inside of that cab to see if we can get a better look at that dog sitting there in the passenger seat. Again, we do believe this is a German Shepherd sitting there in the passenger seat with his master. You can see him there. You can see him there. There he is. Go ahead, studio. I copy you. Okay, 10-4. Okay, let me give you a little bit more. Testing 1, 2, 3, mic check, ABC 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. Still the 405 north, correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, great. Okay, I'm going to zoom back out here, guys. Sorry about that. Taking care of, again, some housekeeping issues up here in News Chopper 4. Continuing here on the northbound 405, but he's going to be coming up to the 118 here, so we'll see what happens. Whether he decides to join the 118 or whether he continues on this 405 north, which will also come to an end here at the 5 freeway. And then at that point, he could continue northbound into the New Hall Pass. This pursuit started in the San Fernando Valley, so he may just be trying to get back into the city of San Fernando. Exiting at San Fernando Mission here, so this may be what we thought. He may have just picked up that 405 north to get back into an area that was familiar with him, that being the city of San Fernando, where this pursuit was originally picked up by San Fernando PD at approximately 10:15. San Fernando Mission from the 405. Of course, don't know how much fuel he started out with, so that is a possibility. He may just run out of gas. This is going to be Paxton. Paxton is the street that runs just south of the 118 freeway. It runs parallel to the 118 freeway, and he's going to be approaching Glen Oaks here in just a moment. My initial guess was that he was, just because he was circling that area, and typically, oh, here he goes, getting on the 118. Yeah, getting on the 118. I'll give you the direction here in just a moment. But to answer your question, Colleen, it seemed like he was from the area because that's the area that he's circling. However, in communicating with his sister, I heard them talk about the city of Palmdale. So it's a possibility that he's actually from the Palmdale area and just happens to find himself here in the San Fernando Valley. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Yeah, I believe I have him going east here, and this is where he's going to come up to the 210 freeway. So this is where the 118 merges with the 210. Yeah, and so it looks like he's going to be going eastbound on the 210 freeway. Yeah, if he's going to Palmdale via the 210 freeway, that's going to be not necessarily the most direct route. If he's going eastbound, he would have to be going westbound or northbound on the 210 to head back towards the Palmdale area. But in this case, he's headed, let's see, the police department is actually correcting themselves. They were calling as if he was going to get onto the 210 east, but it turns out he is in fact going north. So this will in fact put him closer towards Palmdale if he continues on that 210. Eventually the 210 is going to come to an end, going to merge with the 5 freeway, and then he could take the 5 north to the 14 north and get back towards, exactly, yeah. No, he hasn't really been trying to dodge them too much. His speed's really not too erratic. Other than the times we saw him driving on the wrong side of the road and the times that we almost saw him hit some pedestrians, we really haven't seen him try to dodge the vehicles in any other way. And of course, he has been running red lights, but that's not going to be an option here now that he's on the freeway. But now that he is on the freeway, we go back to something we were talking about earlier. The CHP can take control. If the CHP gets behind him, then we can start talking about the pit maneuver as a possibility. Okay, exiting Maclay. Westbound Maclay from the 210 freeway. Northbound Foothill. The police department says he's going 75 miles an hour. He's got his hazards on now, which is something he didn't have on before. It's unclear why he would turn them on now. There's no way the police department is going to lose him now with those hazards on. It makes him stand out even more. And of course, we've still got the police helicopter overhead and at least half a dozen units directly behind this guy. Approaching Hubbard now. Going eastbound Hubbard, going to be heading back towards the 210 freeway. And going to be getting back on the freeway. Back on the 210 freeway, this time going southbound or eastbound. The 210 freeway runs east-west, but through this portion, a lot of people refer to it as north-south. This particular section is going to be your east or south direction. So if he goes in this direction, this is going to put him back towards the 118 freeway, back towards Pogоня. You can see the police spotlight there overhead, lighting up this guy as he continues here in the right lane of the 210 East. Going to be coming up to Maclay. Continuing 210 East or 210 South, requesting CHP. So CHP may be getting behind this here pretty soon. They're definitely aware that this pursuit is going on. They were called to take over when it was over by the 405-101. That was at least half an hour ago, if not more. So they are definitely aware that there's a pursuit on our highways. And now it is on the 210, approaching the 118 freeway in the Sylmar-Pogоня area. Looks like he's setting up for the 118. Widen out the shot here, touch so that we can see what he's gonna do. I believe that's gonna be the 118. Yep, 118 freeway. Westbound 118. It's really his only option here because the 118 ends here, so you can't go east. You're forced to go west. So now he's on the roundabout here to get onto the 118 freeway. Again, CHP has been requested to take over this pursuit. If that happens, then we may see a pit maneuver if the situation warrants it, if the suspect slows down enough, if the road is clear, and if they don't have any other information in terms of a weapon, perhaps, because if he is in fact armed, they may just wait for this to end. A pit maneuver may not necessarily be the best decision just because they do. Okay. 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 Okay, 30 seconds. When we last tuned in, he was on that 210 freeway. From there, he took the 118 and then exited at Glen Oaks. So that's where we have him yet again on Glen Oaks, traveling northbound away from the 118 freeway. San Fernando still in pursuit. They requested CHP to take over, but now that he's back on surface streets, we may have San Fernando continuing this pursuit here. He's going to be entering the Sylmar area. Eventually, he will end up in San Fernando as well. We'll continue to cover this for you on our NBC4 website and app. Back to you guys in the studio. They were the ones that originally tried to pull over this suspect who is in the car with his large German Shepherd. Of course, the police department is aware that that dog is in there. They've already called for animal control to respond to the scene when this pursuit comes to an end so that they can handle that dog. And in terms of anybody else in the car other than the driver, we believe that's it. That's all we've heard. We also heard, oh, here we go. Let's see what happens here. We got a pit. Boom, and he spun around. Let's see if that's going to stop him. He's right behind that tree. You're going to see these vehicles from the CHP move in to try to block this guy from potentially getting away yet again. So they're going to get in a situation where they don't have a crossfire situation, and they're going to try to convince this guy to come out now with his hands up. Ideally, what the first thing they'd like him to do is to throw the keys out of the vehicle. That way they know that this pursuit cannot continue. We see the driver's door is open there, so this may be coming to an end here. We're going to find out here in just a moment. Again, the dog is still a factor. He is still in the vehicle. Another thing we heard earlier was that the suspect may potentially be armed. We have no confirmation of that. Oh, there you go. He's trying to move. He's trying to reverse. He still tried to reverse despite the fact that the CHP hasn't blocked in. So he has that driver's door open. It's unclear if he's following their commands, if he's in any sort of conversation with them right now. Again, he still has that large German Shepherd dog. And other than that, we don't know anything about whether or not he is in fact armed. We saw him reaching under the seat a number of times. So, of course, there we go. We see the dog. We see the German Shepherd. He's running on the sidewalk, running away. I'm going to stay with the car, though, so that we can continue monitoring the driver. You see that dog just running up and down the sidewalk. He, of course, has no idea what's going on and what he just went through. But you see him there on the street. And we now see the suspect. There he is with his hands up. Going to back away from the vehicle. The CHP is trying to direct him as to what they want him to do here. We see him there with that baseball cap. His hands are up. And he's slowly moving away from his vehicle over towards the sidewalk. It's unclear if that's the command that the CHP is giving him, but if it is, then he is following their commands. He's up against that white fence there next to that home. Behind that tree, we're coming around here so we can take a better look. We're going to lose this shot here for just a moment as we come around, but I'll get back on it as soon as I can. You're going to see him there between the trees. We're coming around to try to get around those trees and get you the best shot possible. He's currently behind those trees. His hands are up. He's up against that white fence. He's in between the trees right now, so this is making it a difficult shot for us, but we'll try to get it for you. The dog is running around as well. The suspect let the dog out first. It's unclear if that's what the CHP asked for, but you can see that this CHP officer is coming up to the suspect, taking his hands, and he's going to make him walk back towards him, where he will put him in handcuffs, and he will also search him to make sure that he has nothing on his person that can physically hurt the officers. So far, it does seem like this suspect, despite the 2-hour-long pursuit that he just led officers on, he does appear to be complying. His dog is right there with him. So far, it seems like the dog is being friendly. We see that CHP officer taking control of the animal. Oh, and now we see, the suspect is starting to resist and coming down. The dog is circling all of this action. The suspect appeared to be complying at first, and then something happened where he just decided he was not going to fully comply with the direction of the CHP officers. We see that the dog is trying to jump in there, not knowing what is happening here with his master. We see at least half a dozen of CHP officers here trying to take control of the suspect. And we see the dog trying to jump in there, but all he can do is watch as his master is being taken into custody. It seemed like it was going to come to a peaceful end here, but then we had that last little moment there where something changed, and then we saw all of these officers converge on this suspect, and they're now trying to handcuff him. They may be trying to also secure his feet, and we may see him put into the back of a squad car here in the next minute or so. Not going to zoom in too much just because we're not sure exactly what is going on down there. But we can see that the officers are taking a more relaxed stance now. The suspect appears to be in custody, sitting him up. We have that CHP officer checking his waistband. They did not secure his legs, so he's just handcuffed for the time being, sitting there on the curb. We see the dog there as well, being tended to by that CHP officer. Again, we have animal control on the way. We have a female here who has just arrived on scene. It's unclear what her role is. We understand that the sister of the suspect was in communication with the San Fernando Police Department, so it's unclear if she perhaps is his sister or just a passerby who is in the area. And now the dog has run off here with these people who are all watching this action go down here on their street. And here's the suspect. We're going to use the doubler here so we can take a better look. Bear with me as I adjust my settings. We can see him there. He was wearing a baseball cap earlier that has since left the top of his head. CHP officers continuing to search him, making sure again that there is nothing on his person that could potentially hurt them. And they will be putting him in the back of a squad car here very soon. I'm going to get out of this doubler here. And with that last shot of that suspect, we will be departing the scene here of this very long pursuit that came to an end here. And we're gonna leave here in just a moment, but I want to confirm the street before we go here for a sec. So I'm gonna ask you to bear with me here for a sec. I just want to make sure that we have the correct cross street, and that is going to be, in fact, Tyler. And I believe it's going to be Foothill Boulevard as well. Yep, sure enough, that's the 210 freeway right there. So it's going to be Tyler and Foothill Boulevard is going to be our nearest intersection. And with that, we are leaving. Thank you very much for your viewership, and we will see you tomorrow on Today in LA. Have a good night, everyone.